Yeah. Anyways, you guys go check out Construction Mentor podcast. But we discussed a lot about family businesses and
Hmm.
about nepotism in family businesses. So he was asking me how kind of that's worked out for me because in my situation, I can't even really see any nepotism, just being handed stuff. And my points were any good business owner is not just going to hand over business to their kids that don't know what they're doing. And
Hmm.
I think if you have your kids in the business, there's more pressure on them to do more and be better. And so, from my perspective, I always had it like much more pressure and a much more responsibility on me um, coming up in learning and stuff. Like, if there was problems, like it almost seems like it was heightened towards me, I guess, and my siblings, just because there's reputation to uphold, and if we're gonna be here, we're gonna do our part, and we're gonna pull our weight and learn and figure this thing out. Um, he mentioned a point that I didn't really think about before, and he said that a lot of times in family businesses, the form of nepotism you see more commonly is that there is like a dedicated mentorship almost to the kids, which I totally agree with. Like, yeah, I have a more direct route to the boss, and I've been through it my whole life, and eat, breathe, live this stuff. So it's much easier to have a strict mentor. But if you look at businesses that don't have kids going forward, maybe that a lot of times that's a lot better, and it probably is going to be more appealing to people. In especially in your guys' case, where you are actually like 100% trying to mentor kids that are coming up in the company, 100%, like, and even where your ideas of turning into an employee owned type thing, like there's a lot of people that like that nowadays. But that was something that opened my eyes a little bit, because it's always kind of something you think about,
Hmm.
but just like especially in construction, that is the main key that you have over someone who's not family, is you actually have a more direct mentor, which that just means someone who wants to start out in a field that doesn't have family in it. You just got to go find a mentor.
Hmm.
But anyways, that was something interesting I thought of, just or was like talked about and have been thinking about recently. Um,
Hmm.
that kind of opened my eyes a bit.
Yeah, I've never really, I guess, had it had the thought that way or verbalized
Yeah,
that way, but
yeah,
it's not wrong. Like you get the comments of like, oh, you work with your dad or whatever, and I'm like, that's doesn't mean anything. Like he rides
no,
my ass.
yeah,
He's rode my ass my whole life.
exactly.
But um, but to a point of like the form of nepotism that makes sense is that like yes, I was taught, hey, you need to go out and work twice as hard as everybody else, or be twice as good as everybody else, and like
Yeah,
from sweeping the floor to being the foreman. He goes, they're not going to give you respect. You have to go get it, and like you're just the boss's kid. So and she was adamant about me knowing how to do everything and doing every trade and not just getting put as the mason right out the gate and all those sort of things. But to that point of like I had a path of like, hey, if I'm good at this, then I get the next step, and if I'm good at that, I get there. And then once I got to the point where I needed to learn masonry, I was like, hey, those guys were like, okay, we have to teach you, like you're not going anywhere. We're stuck with you. We have to teach you.
mm-hmm.
And because yeah, like my dad taught me to a point, but the guys on the side are who really taught me how to do what I can do.
Yep.
And now dad's like refining, the business side of things. But yeah, that's an interesting way of putting the nepotism kind of debate or topic in play because it's not wrong of like yeah, I'm sure there's so many of them that come in and have no real direction because they don't know what to do or like there's not a dedicated path to everybody to get from, A to B to C to D.
Mm.
And yeah, that's an interesting. I like hearing that and learning, and because it definitely puts a new thought in your brain.
Yeah, I think if we're talking about family business and building a legacy and stuff, I mean, that is most people's issue with working in a business that's owned by family, but it's also can be a good thing if you can come around to realize that fact. And also if it's very visible that the family doesn't actually just get things just because. And while they may not be handed to them, it is definitely like groomed, I guess. And I
Yeah.
never thought of it that way. Like you're groomed to be the best, but that doesn't mean all of a sudden that puts all your work down the drain just because you were in the family. Because other people that are in businesses that they aren't family of still have that path available. I've seen it happen plenty of times where people have moved up in companies, done the same thing. It's just a matter of you need to have that example and be willing and show up